Glenville fans, this is your old friend Gene Martin back with another Big Band Swing radio show. Well, about 2 weeks ago, I loaded a new album called The Glenn Miller Orchestra Live from Las Vegas. I never expected such a response, so I decided I will make a volume 2 of the same album. Where we left off on volume number 1, we left off with the Rhapsody in Blue. We're going to continue that same album with some of the great songs, the great arrangements of Glenn Miller. This is an album in stereo that was recorded back in 2024 in Las Vegas by the official Glenn Miller Orchestra. This album was sent to me by the Glenn Miller office in Lake Mary, Florida. And they said they will send me any more new albums that come up. And of course, as soon as they do, I will make new podcasts and present them to you. So let's get started with the rest, not the whole album, but the rest part of the album. Glenn Miller live in Las Vegas. And here is Jerry Gray's famous arrangement of String of Pearls.
partner, it's my day. Bend an ear and listen to my version of a really solid Tennessee excursion. Pardon me there, is that the Chattanooga choo-choo?
Yes, yes.
Track 29. Hey, you can give me a shine. Can you afford to board the Chattanooga choo-choo? I've got my fare and just a trifle to spare. You leave the Pennsylvania station bound quarter to 4. You read a magazine and then you're in Baltimore.
Dinner in the diner, nothing could be finer
Than to have your ham and eggs in Carolina. When you hear the whistle blowing into the bar, then you know that Tennessee is not very far.
Shuffle all the coal, gotta keep it rolling.
Row, row, Chattanooga, there you are. There's gonna be a certain party at the station. I used to call Funny Face. She's gonna cry until I tell her that I'll never roll. So Chattanooga choo-choo, won't you choo-choo me home? All aboard, get aboard. Chattanooga choo-choo, won't you choo-choo me home?
The first gold record ever issued to any song. That was Chattanooga Choo Choo by the Glenn Miller Orchestra. It's hard to believe that after all these years, 1941, that was presented in the movie Sun Valley Serenade, it still sounds pretty good. I always thought the last part of that recording, the brass part, it was a very swinging section on that last arrangement. And when I spoke to Tex Beneke many moons ago, he told me the guys in the band all thought that was a real cornball tune. But it just goes to show how wrong they were. It became a #1 hit and, of course, a gold recording. We're listening to the new album called Glenn Miller Live in Las Vegas, featuring the official Glenn Miller Orchestra of 2024, recorded in February of 2024. This orchestra was directed by Eric Stabow, who was featured in some of the vocals on the recording. And I like that album. It's a good album. It's stereo. A lot of it is not as tight as the original band would have played, but don't forget we're in the year of 2025 when I'm recording this, so things are a little different now. We listened to String of Pearls, Jerry Gray's fine arrangement there, and Song of the Vulgar Boatman. That was kind of a novelty tune by the band, and of course Chattanooga Choo Choo. Up next, it was a song that Glenn liked so much, and it was a song that he was going to name his ranch. When the war was over, he was going to have a ranch out in California, and he was going to call the ranch Tuxedo Junction. Well, of course, that never happened, but he did record Tuxedo Junction, became one of his big hits. So we'll continue with the Live in Las Vegas album with Tuxedo Junction. Tuxedo Junction, one of the big hits from the Miller Songbook. The reason that was a really big hit, I think, in my opinion, being a musician and played with so many bands all my life, I think it was the tempo of that song, Tuxedo Junction, that made it such a danceable tune. A guy can grab a gal, or a gal can grab a guy. I guess back in those days, it was always the guy grab the gal and dance to Tuxedo Junction and made that a big hit. You know, I love doing these podcast big bands for you because there are no big bands left on the radio. And I've tried to contact so many radio stations to try to do a big band show, and they look at you or talk to you like you're crazy. So if you happen to know anybody in the radio business that would like to play some of this music, I would love to record a program and send it to them, and just to keep the big band sound alive. Hey, this next song was sung by Marion Hutton with the Glenn Miller Band, and this time it features a young lady by the name of Jenny Swoosh. Hope I got that right. Anyway, it was a novelty song by the Miller Band called Happy in Love.
1, 2, 1.
Happy in love, whoa, what a feeling. You're never, never, never happy till you're really, really, really happy in love. Nothing on earth can give you that feeling. You may be silly, silly, happy, but oh, baby, baby, you're so happy in love. You want everybody to know it. You like to get up on the highest steeple, shout to people, happy in love. The sky is your ceiling. You lucky, lucky, lucky chappy. It's great to be living when you're happy in love. Happy in love, the sky is your ceiling. You lucky, lucky chappy. It's great to be living when you're happy in love. It's great to be living when you're happy in love.
Ending our Volume 2 podcast of the Glenn Miller Live in Vegas. That was, of course, Hoagie Carmichael's Stardust, with an added little piano intro right there. Well, that's about the end of our Volume 2 podcast of today. I want to remind you, if anyone would like to contact me about my shows or any information, or even getting onto a radio station somewhere, my email is very simple. It's THEGENEMARTINSHOW@yahoo.com. Please contact me if you have any comments or requests. And a reminder, you can get this album by going online to glennmillerorchestra.com. There are albums, there are t-shirts, there are hats, and there's all kinds of things you can get. Remembering the one and only Glenn Miller. This is Gene Martin signing off until next time. Maybe there'll be a Volume 3.